All right. Hello and welcome to session 24, Fragments of Remains. Do as we normally do, check in on each of our players, see how their week was before we get into the game. So, with this week, let's go ahead and start with Togo. Togo, how was your week?
Oh, pretty good. I was up in DC this weekend. I had an interview on Monday, which was very exciting, and that went relatively well. Waiting to hear back, but it's a internal transfer, so I'm pretty hopeful about it.
Just working for the same company in like a different office area?
Yeah, so I'm moving up with my significant other here shortly. So there's another office within the company, n- uh, fairly close to where she's at. So I'm gonna be moving up there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Same job or promotion?
Uh, the job is cooler than what I currently do. I'd be basically making model livers.
That does sound cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize that I really wanted the job until
Till you saw what was going on.
yeah.
Nice. Well, congratulations. Hopefully they call. And
Hopefully,
I mean, I should say just hopefully soon. So that way you don't have
yeah.
to live it with anxiety.
I've done what I can do. It'll be all right.
I'm sure. Zanashi, how was your week?
I can't really complain, man. Been all right. I mean, I've done some more shelf building for telling my daughter, but other than that, I mean, been pretty uneventful
Yeah, definitely not as eventful as a couple weeks ago when you were on vacation doing all your traveling.
for sure.
Well, at least you're getting some of those shelves put together. Valencia, how about you, my friend?
Well, I just had pulled pork drowned in Cholula sauce, and it was great. So that's my week.
That sounds pretty good.
It does.
And Modar, how was your week?
Good week. Yeah, everything's going well. Ready to get going on this next part here, and uh, ready for Easter next weekend.
Modar's itching for that boat.
I know. And but with that, there was a couple of interesting things that we had. Excuse me, that we had left on last week, wrapping up with the remnants of a ship being noted, and then also Alencia having the feeling in the pit of her stomach that this is an entrance to the Underdark. That the giant hole that is that lays before them in this den area. But before anything else, I'll give each of you the floor for the recap, and then we'll move on from there.
So we traveled with our two goblin companions as they led our way to the fearsome den of lizard people, to which we spotted, and they left with the horse. To which we told them that they need to leave it alive and that they should not try to feed it meat. And then we, for once, sat down and actually strategized about what our plan should be approaching it. And me and Zanashi quietly crept forward, peering into the hole, trying to see if we could find and see anything. And we noted four guards poking their heads up. We waited for a while and then went back and devised a devious plot in which me and Zanashi turned invisible and got to the side and behind them as Modar and Alencia walked up, and they wanted to take Alencia to the matron mother, but wouldn't say why. And then we fought, and they all died horribly.
I think one escaped. Well, the first group they all died, and then
Oh yeah,
we went in and fought the second and third-ish group inside, and one did escape. Correct, or did we kill it while it was running away?
Nope,
I
that
know
one.
one fell down
I
the
shot it.
pit dead.
Yes, that's right, Alencia. You did shoot it with an arrow. The one that was climbing down. You had spotted it, and with the tail poking out, you shot it. and then it began to fall.
No, but was there one before that went down or not?
That was
That
the
was-
one that Alencia shot.
Okay, there was only one. For some reason, I thought there was two of them that made it down into the hole.
One that was climbing down, and the other that was essentially killed and began to fall.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, there were two. Just one of them was already dead when it fell in. Cool.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was a second one climbing that died or if there was just two, but yeah. Okay.
And then, yes, we found what we suspect to be the red tree that the goblins were missing, and what appear to be possibly the remnants of one of the boats we're looking for. Modar tried to reason with them, but at the end of the day, they had no interest in reasoning.
Zanashi just smashed things.
I would like to add to that point of not just smashing things, but taking down some of the more, what we'll say as notable lizard folk, and just a turn, and some even in just one swing, depending on how your damage is rolled out. Quite impressive.
I started rolling bad.
Yeah, like I said, depending, but most of them were pretty much falling in 2 or 1 hit, which was pretty ridiculous. But before I get into my little part of the narrative, just to confirm with each of you, the last update I believe that we had from experience was each of you were at 6,806.
No,
What do you have?
I have 7,869.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
That's
at
it.
6,806.
Yeah, I'm at the same number. 6,806.
Did you give out experience 2 weeks ago when I had to leave early?
I honestly can't remember, but when I listened to last session, I had it handed out experience. So I just wanted to confirm because I had a question mark at the end of this.
Oh, you had told us after the stream what we were going to be at, but I had already shut down all my stuff, so I didn't add it in.
Okay, then that's more than likely what it was. So you said it was 8,000.
7,869.
Or 7,869. Okay.
So that's 1,063 experience.
Indeed. Because that's what I had to hand out, but that was basically what I was confirming.
1,063.
Yep.
That's the number we're adding.
And that puts us at 7,869. Got it. Okay.
Okay, so that's basically what I wanted to confirm because, like I said, I had a question mark at it and then had 1,063 EXP earned, but left myself a little shorthanded on those notes to know if that was from it being added or what. But
You had mentioned it in Discord, but it was while we were sitting in here talking after the session.
all right. Well, with that, I will continue our story with this. So after Togo and Zanashi had scouted out the area, confirming more lizard folk to be ahead in the meadows, making their way around the large hole using the tall grass as a bit of cover and security. In total, 4 lizard folk heads were spotted. Then a little bit of a planning session before each of them had set out, Togo and Zanashi invisible, and with Alencia and Modar making their way up, the lizard folk feeling that they with the numbers, them having the advantage. However, this proving to be a very deadly decision for the lizard folk, as all of them were quickly cut down, their ranks broken as each of the party members made their way into the den, slaying the remaining of the enemies, then combat ended. Leaving the party surrounded by the remains of a ship, along with a pit leading to what Alencia knows to be the Underdark. Continuing on, still on April 29th, as we are nearing midday, I open the floor back up to each of you.
All right, well, I don't think there's much reason to follow them any further into these depths. Do you, Alencia? Is there any coming up?
She's just kind of blank, staring at the hole.
Don't you want to go home, Alicia?
This isn't my home.
Well, it seems like your home's going to keep calling for you unless we go knock it. And we knock it down.
So there was another Underdark entrance?
Well, Alencia, I believe there are many Underdark entrances spread across this world.
I only thought there was one.
How vast do you believe the Underdark to be?
I was an infant by the time I left there. I don't even remember what it looks like.
Out of curiosity, do I have any knowledge of the Underdark whatsoever?
You can roll me a history check at disadvantage, Modar.
Alicia, if you were an infant when you left there, how do you know what your family looks like?
They were unmistakable. They've done awful things, but they were also hard to forget.
Is that not working?
Can I do like a lore check on what I know about the Underdark from stories and stuff? Assuming I'd heard at least something from going around traveling.
Yeah, you can make me a history check at disadvantage as well.
So I'm reloading into the game right now. For some reason,
No problem.
it wasn't going.
So, Togo, the stories you've heard, I mean, from being a bard yourself, you would know from time to time the stories you hear are a bit exaggerated. So, with the information that you have, I mean, other than the drow coming from the Underdark and being quite vile, evil creatures, for the most part, we know, Alencia being the exception to this, obviously. At least from your experience thus far. But Modar, you would know, doing the bit more of research from the libraries in Vala and having a bit more factual information. The Underdark is vast. While there's no map or any indication of specific areas, there would be mentions of a few major cities and the sheer size and volume is speculated to be down below.
No, I mean, the Underdark is a massive system of multiple cities, probably hundreds of thousands of people around. Who knows exactly how many would be down there? But with something that massive, there have to be several entrances to the Underdark spread all around this world.
I mean, I've always heard stories, but you never know what to believe. People always tell crazy stuff about the Underdark and the denizens within. Kind of like put my hands up as like a new, as I say, denizens.
It's hard to remember what the Underdark was actually like. I don't even remember how I got separated from them. It's been so long.
If you were that young, why are they why are they coming for you? You obviously know nothing about the Underdark. Why do they care so much?
That the people of Glens who found me also killed some drow, and then they took me in. And so I'm guessing that They don't want someone like me running around.
Sure do a lot of guessing.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
well, it's hard to say. Maybe this entrance into the Underdark and this ship have something to do with each other. It's hard to say, but I would definitely suggest while we're here, we need to have somebody watching this, watching our backs and making sure that they don't come back. Hopefully, we've pushed them away far enough, but if they come with a larger force, it's hard to say what will happen. I think I can give me some time and I can call forth our friend and he will keep an eye in there and warn us if anybody's coming, but I need time to summon him. I just haven't had time in the last few days to do that.
These lizard folk were just living here? Were the drow working with them to capture me?
It would appear so. I would assume that it seemed to me from the conversation I had with them, talking with those that would talk to us, that the matron mother has hired them to bring you back.
Why do they want me back so badly?
I suppose we'll have to ask the matron mother that at some point. But
Honestly, based off what we've experienced so far of her courtesies, I'd rather not ask her anything.
good point.
Why is there so much hanging over my head? I don't want all
Well,
this happening to me.
I would say that for now, we watch the entrance there. I will spend the next. It's going to take some time for me to call the familiar, or we can just simply check things out and with the ship. I just don't want to be taken by surprise. We need to keep an eye out if they come back.
Valencia has not stopped just staring down this hole.
Well, good, Alicia. Keep an eye out there.
Oh, yeah, I'm watching. Yeah.
All right.
Wait, I'm
Hey,
sorry. Do any of you need healing?
uh, I mean, I could use a little bit, but a couple good rests, and I should be all right.
I should be fine for at least a little while. Um, and then with that, I'm going to turn my attention to the ship and start to take a look at that and see what I can, if I can figure out anything about the ship.
Is that on yourself or is that on me?
I'll take a
That's on
heal.
me.
Valencia.
And I
Of
start looking
course.
at whatever this is over here.
Okay, so with Modar and Togo taking looks at the ship, can both of you roll me an investigation check, please? Alencia healing, I'm assuming yourself and also Zanashi, correct?
Yep.
Cool.
Which one of the hills is to me?
That was going to be my next question, actually.
Because I added 11 back to me, and I saw that 16. I'm like, God dang, which one is it?
Alencia,
What?
which heals to whom?
Oh, the second one is to Zanashi.
Okay. So, Togo, as you're taking a look around at each of these parts of the ship, um, first coming across the helm, which you would know is what's used to turn the rudders and things to basically move in whichever direction you're wishing it to go. The sails and masses that they're attached to, the sails torn, the masses very battered. You can tell being worn, extremely, extremely worn with time. The deck and part of a hole and bits of railing in the center. Overall, being able to identify them, but not really finding anything of major significance. Modar, with the 20 adding your timeless precision, getting all the same details, of course, that Togo got, the only thing in addition that you're able to find is this part that is a bit worn. You're actually able to decipher what it says with only a few letters missing. Written in a old common, but enough to understand the message. You read the line, 5 ambassadors.
Five ambassadors.
Correct.
That's like written like on the ship, like a name of a ship, or that's like something.
It's written
some
on
document?
the center mast, the larger of the 3. Unsure if it's the name of the ship or anything else. That's what you find written there.
All right. Nothing that would show any evidence of it being able to fly or any sort of magical or other means of propulsion.
Correct. But each of you taking a look over this, I mean, obviously taking some time to do so. Zanashi and Alencia, tending to their wounds, being focused and healed by Alencia. Still standing near the edge of the pit, can each of you give me a perception check at this point?
I am very perceptive.
Both of you are quite certain, other than the bit of rustling that's going on in the immediate area. I mean, there's no sounds coming from the pit. Looking over here and there, there's no signs of life whatsoever. Feel pretty safe.
Just in case, she's gonna cast dancing lights and send them as far as it can go down the pit.
Just double checking. Dancing lights, I believe it's 150? Or is it less?
120, I think.
Okay. Well, sending them down as far as they can go, still with the light emitting, not seeing a bottom. But quite certain that nothing's scaling the walls or anything at this point.
So far down. How do Drow get up here?
Maybe they fly. Can you fly?
I would like to fly. Maybe I haven't discovered yet.
Zanashi, check if she can fly.
I do not want to be
I grab
pushed down this
Alencia.
hole. Excuse me. Please don't.
Let's not be too hasty. DM, looking at the, can I tell whether this ship is roughly the same size as the last one we saw? Bigger, smaller? Or
Definitely a smaller amount of remnants from the ship. size comparison, but I mean everything else seems to be sort of fitting.
Kind of like the width and everything. It seems to be there's less of the ship, but it seems to be a ship of the same size.
Yeah,
So
like a more less surface area, I guess is a better way to put it. Because with you finding a bit of the front of the bow and part of the deck, and then also the hull, this little part is, I mean, what appears just to be the center part of the deck.
well, we've definitely found something here. We could, and it looks. Taking a look at this, does it look like the rest of the ship may have fallen down this hole?
It's very possible. I mean, ideas of the ship falling down the hole, perhaps some of it being removed.
I'm gonna look up. Does there appear to be any any exit towards the roof of this cavern? Like, does it look like it was like a way for a ship to fly out of the top of it at some place?
The best area for it to make any sort of maneuvering out is the tunnel that each of you had made your way through, but nothing directly above.
Well, this is interesting. I may have to make a try and communicate with our benefactor and see what they have to say. And then I will take my paper and everything out and see if I can kind of try to get an idea about how the helm and stuff went together and try and draw some sort of a resemblance of how it looks like it was steered and what may have driven it.
Okay, can you give me an intelligence check, Modar, at advantage, please? And what are the rest of you doing at this point?
I'm looking at the wood, trying to see if I think that this is about as old as the other ship. In terms of like decay and rot, or just what may have you. Does it look similar, or does it look similar in terms of how it's decayed to the other ship? I know the other one was in water, but could I make a judgment on that?
From your previous investigation, taking the look over on that, I mean, it seems to be roughly the same. But as you had mentioned, with the little bit of extra decomposition being in water versus this being on a much drier surface in comparison, seems roughly comparable.
Okay.
Modar, with the pieces that you have of what you found, you're able to kind of like place them together. You know, this sail going towards the bow, this one at the center, and this one somewhere near the rear from the looks of it. And then connecting this part of the deck that you had found, most of the remaining hull and rear of the ship seems to be missing. So you're unsure of exactly how it seems to have been steered, but you see where this part pieces together.
All right, I'll do my best to sit down and sketch or make notes and put whatever information I can to paper for later use.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a let's say, I can't remember exactly what we did last time. I want to say it was a sleight of hand check.
Oh, that's fine, yeah, because I don't have any. Let me give me a check here. So I don't think I have anything in any sort of artistic abilities. Sleight of hand for agility.
I was leaning towards either a sleight of hand or a dexterity saving throw, just due to the wanting to draw it carefully aspect.
I
making
gotcha,
sure
yeah.
that you'd make no mistakes, but I'll let you choose either or, because I can't remember exactly what we had done previous. I think that's what you rolled previously too.
Yeah, no, I know. I remember I did terrible last time.
And I'm just chilling out, watching
Looking
over
at it, how
everybody.
good of a picture do I think he draws?
I mean, from the way you're like taking a look at it, you would definitely note that it's a bit sloppy. More of the detail seems to be on the notes of what is found. And with that, you're able to tell exactly what everything is, but it doesn't really look like it.
I might, while I'm also sitting there, do my own sketch. If I notice that it's not going to be particularly the most accurate of pictures.
Other than needing some supplies to do so, I mean, you could easily like redo the sketch. That's not an issue. It's just the time needed to accomplish the goal.
Yeah, I'll do that. And I had the we all have extra stuff because we grabbed them when we were. At least I should have some.
If not, I believe Modar has a crap ton, but
Yeah, I've got
maybe he doesn't want to give it
pen,
to
and
you.
paper.
I've got the expensive stuff for my spells, and then I've got some basic pen and paper. You're not getting the expensive stuff.
I've got my own like paper and ink and stuff like that. Got to be able to write down them limericks, yo. But I'll sit down and do my own sketch. And this is fun, Modar. We should do this more often. I like drawing.
Yes, this was never my field research. Hasn't been my course of study. It is definitely interesting.
Well, at the point of where you are in the drawing, trying to copy things over and make it a bit more descriptive in the depictions of the art part. The notes, as I stated, were pretty well written already. The picture comes out fairly nice, but it's gonna take you at least 15 to 20 minutes to finish everything. As long as everyone's okay with waiting, we can just go through, but a bit more to discuss if you wish.
I mean, yeah, Modar's focused on this task, just taking whatever time, as long as Alencia and Zanashi don't say, you know, here comes a group of angry lizards. He's focused on what he's doing. Time isn't even an option. The sun could go up and down a half a dozen times. He's not going to stop until he thinks he's got everything. He's focused.
Alencia is just has the same expression, just staring down at this hole. And at some point, her mind wanders to trying to remember what exactly it was like in the Underdark.
Can you roll me a con save, Valencia? Okay. I mean, while you're thinking back, the most that you can remember is just images of purple light, flashing images of what you assume to be your family, while all still a bit blurry, other than it being quite dark, reminding you of what you stare into the pit. There's this slight brief moment where you will see eyes appear coming up the center, but as quick as they appear, they dissipate.
Uh,
Sanashi, while you're looking down over in the same area with the dancing lights and the just being able to see quite easily, you just see nothing. Just emptiness.
Okay. I don't see anything, so I don't act unusual.
You do notice Alencia being a bit startled.
What's wrong, Alicia?
Oh.
Homesick?
No, I was just hallucinating. Don't mind me.
What were you hallucinating about?
Something.
Is this reason that I act like I do around you because you don't trust none of us?
It's not about trust. I feel uncertain about a lot of things.
Tell me your darkest secret and I'll tell you mine.
Is this a game?
No.
Uh, darkest secret. Well, I mean, I I don't really have secrets. It's just more of things, awful things just happen to me. Very often.
Okay, suit yourself.
Wait, was that what you wanted to hear? Or I don't keep secrets. I just have stuff that I don't want to talk about.
Those things you don't want to talk about are your secrets.
Right. But it's not like it's private information. It's just moments in my past, things I can barely remember, and just a
You
lot
didn't,
of discrimination.
you didn't do bad things.
I guess I did, but it was for my own survival. I mean, if you want me to talk about it, I can.
Well, between me and you, and I actually get a little low in the way I tell this because I don't want nobody else to hear it. I have killed for you.
I I know. I figured it out myself. It took some time, but and I just didn't want to believe it, but I understand why he did that.
Once I set my mind to something, there's nothing or no one who's going to stop me.
Right. Did I ever tell you why I ran away from Glenn's?
No? Did someone come on to you and you didn't like it?
She says nothing.
If you point them out to me or tell me who they are, I can kill them for you.
Oh, don't worry about that. He's already dead.
So I guessed right, though.
I forgot about that entirely.
Did I seriously just guess this right, though?
Why did I remember?
Give me an insight check there, Zanashi. Modar and Togo, both of you would have noticed the conversation getting a bit quieter, as both of you working together. Then after like the conversation fades a bit, just assuming being more into your work than anything else.
Yeah, I would draw the boat and then start looking at the tree after I think I've investigated as much, or kind of looked into and spent as much time as I was going to get anything useful from the boat and all the stuff around us.
Odar is just, whatever's going on around him may as well be a nuclear bomb going off. He doesn't care. He's focused on the boat right now. That's all he cares about.
Zanashi, with Valencia's voice becoming a bit shaken, her facial expression, and even falling a bit silent with some of the questions you've asked, or the question you've asked and put forth, you feel that you've kind of hit the nail on the head.
I guess my vibe was right.
I mean, he wasn't a bad person. He never touched. I mean, he never laid a finger.
He tried, though.
He never hurt me. He never hurt me.
Apparently, he has hurt you, mostly.
I had to disregard that because it was him. He saved my life. And when I became an adult, he just kept saying it was an accident. But when I confronted him about it, and I asked him why he kept doing it, and he said it wasn't an accident. And I said, why? And he said, because it's not like any other man will touch you like I do. And I retired for the day and just cried.
I reach out and I grab a hold of Valencia and hug her.
I didn't know what to do. I thought I should just endure it. I had to endure it. I had nowhere else to go.
What was done to you was terrible. And them being dead is for the best. But now you've got it off your chest. It's time to put it behind you, bury it, and move forward.
That's why I don't like anyone near me. When someone puts their hands on me, I get all flinchy, and I don't like it.
Now that I know, I apologize for ever making you feel uncomfortable in that way. And it'll never happen again.
Thank you.
I almost wish this guy wasn't dead just so I could go kill him again.
Well, and she starts calming down. I mean, other people wanted him dead. I of course didn't want to kill him. I had no other home left. But his name was Aloysius. He was very high up in politics, and he invited everyone for a house party. He often does. And I was the one who served food and drinks. And he invited his friends and his allies and even his political enemies. He thinks that despite everything, that everyone should live together in harmony. But people are still not used to the fact that a drow is living in their city. And so I don't know how it happened, but
Did anyone else know what he was doing to you?
I don't talk to anyone else.
But
Not
none of his friends or family knew what he done with you. Like, do you suspect any of them knew and just turned a blind eye to it?
It was just me and him living in that house. I don't know what he talks about other than politics with other people. So I'm guessing they didn't know, and even if they said anything, he'd defend me and say that I'm a hard worker and that I give him the best treatment. But that night, the drink that I served him was poisoned, and he was suffering for a good couple minutes. And I was trying to reach out and save him, but they assumed that I was trying to kill him, and they kept me back. And they said stuff like, I knew it was a drow. I knew they were evil. It's in their blood and stuff like that. And they started to restrain me so that they could call the guard and lock me up.
This is Glantz.
I just got angry. And I shoved everyone out of the way and grabbed everything I could, and I in order to avoid being stopped, I had to knock out some guards and just run from Clance as far as I could. And I just decided to help everyone that I could, because that's what I wanted to be known by. And I kept doing that as I kept traveling north to Vala, and that's where I met you guys.
Are we heading towards Glantz now?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You don't need to know so much.
Oh, it's good you told me. Now I understand why you are the way you are. And I better hope I never step foot in that city.
I feel so vulnerable. Never cried this hard before.
Where I come from, the men take what they want. And I have had to fight to maintain my innocence. And I've nearly lost a couple times, but I finally had to leave that place because it was just too dangerous. So that's kind of the way I am. That's what they do to me.
Hmm. I understand, and as awful as people in Glench treated me, I know for a fact that the Underdog is very much worse. The things they say about Drow are usually right. I just wish I didn't look like this most of the time. If I wasn't a Drow, none of this would be happening to me. I would have been happy.
Well, you could have been one of those, what's those things again? Those leprechauns where you could hop in those holes. They looked really happy.
That sounds like fun. That would be a nice life to live, I think.
Uh, you are who you are. Don't ever apologize for who you are. Just prove them wrong. And if they don't believe that you aren't like your others of your kind, then fuck them.
That's a crude way of putting it, but I actually agree. I agree with that. I mean, ever since I left, I wanted to be a maid to other people, not just to one person, but to everyone that I meet. Because everyone deserves to be happy. And even at the cost of myself, I would do anything to help because I can. And so I should. Maybe that was Aloysius teaching me that relentlessly, but I feel like the things he taught me served me well, at least. And now now that I care a bit more about myself, things are a lot easier. I'm able to help more. And for that, I am grateful.
Just stand proud for who you are now and where you're going. Don't dwell on the past. It's just going to bring you grief, depression, and that's the best I really can tell you. Don't hide who you are. Just own it.
It's the actions that tell the most about a person. That's all I wanted to do, was just pure good. Hopefully that would be enough to prove them wrong, and maybe I can still do that. So that's what I'm gonna do. And she stands up and finally wipes her tears and settles herself. I'm gonna stop looking down that hole. It's filling my head with things I shouldn't see. Remember. Have you guys found anything?
Toko and Modar, can both of you give me an investigation check? For while you look into the tree, please. So, while this conversation is taking place, the globules of light still flicking around, Modar just noting that the leaves are very much dead, no longer holding the red color that you feel that they may or may not have once held. Togo, I mean, being fairly certain that this is the tree that you were set out and set forth from Gabo to find, in hopes of bringing back, you spot a glimmer of light, a little flicker as the globules from the dancing lights dance around.
On the tree,
Inside the tree.
I will go and kind of like lean closer and touch the globules and poke it with a finger and just like try and look into the globules.
So the globules are just reflecting like that little bit of light from the whatever you're seeing. But as you look in there, poking around, you will note that you find a tip of a blade. You'll notice the outsides cast in silver, while the middle in some type of darkened material.
Can I try and pull it out?
Yeah, you can, easy enough. I mean, it's roughly 6 to 8 inches in length. In the bottom, you can see that it's definitely broken from another part of a blade.
3 ones in a row.
I know. Look at this, Modar, and I'll hand it to him.
4. I'm sorry, 4. Wait, no, the other one was a D4. Never mind.
You're on fire.
Getting them all out now. I'll kind of look at it, peer at it, and say, "Look at this, Modar. This was stuck in the tree." And I'm gonna look around the tree and see if I notice any other bits of dagger or whatever sticking out of it. Go to the other side, see if it was like shoved all the way through.
Hey, you find, excuse me, nothing else of note.
Do I see any way that we can like move the tree?
Well, it is a fairly decent size in comparison to the short halfling you are. You know.
Is it rooted into the ground right now, or is it just sitting in the ground?
No, it's just like setting laying.
Zanashi, you think you can carry this tree?
I can sure try. I'll try to carry it.
Okay. Can you give me just a straight strength check, please? So as like you begin to lift it, it's definitely a bit difficult. You put a little extra oomph into it, but you're still unable to like hoist it up. It's just a little bit longer, making it a bit awkward, a little bit heavier to one side. You quickly put together from gathering wood back in your tribe, back in your orc tribe. It's gonna be best to perhaps drag it more so than trying to have a singular person carry it.
I think it's gonna be better if we drag it as a group. It's pretty heavy.
I want to look around. Did they have anything, any sort of, there's no wheels or like barrels, carts, anything of the sort that they were using to move things along?
None that you notice inside the area. From the numbers and from Zanashi's explanation and idea, you feel that that's more than likely how they brought this tree into the area.
All right. How good a shape are the sails in?
They're pretty rough. I mean,
All right.
they're quite battered and torn.
All right, I suppose yes. It's going to be our best bet. We should get moving.
Yeah, probably. Could you send a message back to our sponsor about the 2 ships we've found?
I cannot at the moment, but I can tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, it is something that I will be able to do. I just cannot right now.
How can you do it tomorrow but not today? Are you a procrastinator?
Some things take time, Zanashi. I wouldn't expect you to understand how all of these spells that I know work.
Are you trying to insinuate I'm dumb?
When it comes to magic, yes.
That's rude.
But is it untrue?
Yes, it's untrue.
I mean, dumb is sort of a little too insulting. I think the word you're looking for is ill-informed.
I just mean to say that you don't know anything about magic. That's all. You do very well at what you do.
Well, other than Zanashi needing a bit of a hand getting this tree out, it can be, I mean, fairly easily done.
Yeah,
If that's the plan.
Yeah, I'll
Yep.
assist where I can, but I'm not overly
It-
large.
The only thing I had possibly if the sails were in good enough shape, take those off and use it kind of as a blanket, pulling it like with the tree sitting on the sails and moving it. But if they're in bad shape, that's not going to work. So
Oops, made campfire big.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, that's roughly it. Maybe a little bit smaller.
right, and we were supposed to be dragging this back to their camp, correct?
Yes, and while being a bit guided, it wasn't too far away. Just waking up fairly early in the morning and then getting there a little early in the afternoon. But at this point, it being midday, with Zanashi's um, knowledge of the area, and then also just the brief amount of time ago that each of you had transversed the area, you would know that it would be fairly little after dark before making it back, especially with the added time with the tree.
That's fine. I say we push on to the camp.
Does everyone agree?
Yep.
If we ever come across those Underdark entrances, is there anything we can do to block it, or... I mean, we're obviously not going inside it, it's just... they seem a little too dangerous just to have all over these lands now. And I was wondering if there was a way we could hinder the drow in some way.
Well, by knowing where they're at, we know where the drow will have to enter the lands and where they will be retreating to. The only thing we could possibly do would be to somehow cave in the entrance, but that wouldn't stop them from digging their way out eventually.
So the locations of these entrances, they're not common knowledge?
Well, I suppose it would depend on whether or not it was like any path or roadway. It's only as common as it is as how often it's used. And to the best of my knowledge, there's not a whole lot of open trade going on between the Underdark and this world. So I don't think too many people have cared too much as far as the common people are concerned.
It would be useful if perhaps the leaders of each city knew about the locations, right?
Yes, that could be useful.
Just anything
The,
to keep the people safe is good enough for me.
it may be good information to pass on to the Druids. Let them know that there is a entrance to the Underdark there. If anybody could do anything about it or seal it up in this area, it would probably be them.
Sure, we can let them know.
Yeah, I think that's probably about as good a plan as any.
Well then, I guess suppose we need to get back and return this tree for them.
Indeed.
And don't worry, everybody knows you're not like, at least we know that you're not like the rest of the drow out there. Maybe we'll find out why they're chasing after you eventually.
Well, as long as you think that, then I'll be okay. I don't have to worry about what other people think anymore. I'll just be my own person.
Well, then she is fine now.
I know, everything's fine.
Hey Modar, when you get a chance, can you look at this dagger that I found inside the tree? Or the part of a dagger?
Absolutely.
Got some weird metal on it.
I'll take it and look at it whenever I get a chance.
Well, yeah, definitely have plenty of time while you're making your way towards the forest line and then through the forest to get back to the camp. Going to take you better part of the afternoon and then into the evening hours. If you wish to do so on the way, you can. Just take about, or the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Unless you want to just cast it.
I'll do the 10 minutes. If we stop for a break for 10 minutes, I'll do that. Or once we arrive there, I'll do it. If I can't really, while traveling, I can't really do that. But if we manage to take a 10-minute break without costing us too much time, I'll definitely do it. If not, I'll do it once we get there.
I mean, you guys are definitely going to need to take water breaks and everything while you're making your way through, especially after that bit of encounter with the lizard folk and, just the time needed in between. Of course, drinking water here and there. But when you identify it, you don't find out anything of true significance, other than noting the edges of the blade are made of silver, and the centerpieces made of cold iron. And taking little bit more of a time to identify it, noticing it while being darker has a slight bluish hue. But other than that, that's the only information that you find out.
Iron and cold iron, blue hue. All right. And you said the edges were silver?
The edges, yes. About an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch of the outsides.
All right. Well, this is a very interesting blade. It's silver edged with a cold iron core to it, and it's got a very interesting hue to the finish. I've never seen anything like it before.
Maybe we should not mention it when we get back and see if we can either find something or try and fix it or something. I don't know. It seems cool though. I don't want to give it back to the goblins.
Oh, well, unless they say something about it, I don't think they'll miss it.
I think we've done more than enough for them.
Yeah.
We're gonna make them rich.
Yes, rich with honor and glory. Anyways, let's go find those goblins.
Bring you all back to the goblin map. As you all make your way there, beginning to hear the crackling of the fireplaces, you will note that the sounds of goblins seem to be quite diminished as you make your way up. Before each of you fully make your way into the encampment, you will hear the familiar voices of Gobbo and the chief of the tribe, and Vince Sturgill, the self-proclaimed but definitely not a bard.
Vince, buddy old pal, how you doing? Gobbo, looking good.
Oh, thank goodness each of you have returned. Now, can you each and all explain to Gobbo here that it will take at least a day's time, perhaps returning in the morning before reinforcements arrive? Gobbo not know. Me think that they just, well, they leave.
What do you mean they left? When did you send for them?
No, me send to go get goblins from Risk, but they not back yet.
How long does it take to get to race?
Almost day.
Alright, so almost a day there.
And then
How long
they
would
probably don't just turn around immediately, so they probably sleep there. So a day there, and then at least another day back, plus time talking to other goblins to get the ones in race. I mean, how long have we been gone for?
We've 1 day. So, how long would it take if Gobbo, if you're in race, how long would it take for you to gather goblins?
No time at all. Gobbo just say, goblins come, and they all go, okay.
True, but you're not there, so the people that you sent are going to be less good than you.
That's true. No one good as Gobbo.
Truer words have never been spoken.
So, I would say you give them 2 days to get back. Does that sound reasonable?
But they're supposed to come right back.
Well, they will when it's. I don't believe they're going to travel at night.
Why?
They'll travel. Do you usually travel at night?
If needed. And that's what I say. But they not come.
Well, not everybody's as brave as Gobbo. True.
Maybe I should have go.
Well,
We did
no
get
reason.
your tree.
We've got your tree here.
Oh? As he looks around, like just looking a bit behind each of you, noting it, and will then just say, "That not red tree."
Oh. Are
That-
you sure?
It's a red tree.
Sniffing the air. It not smell like it. But as each of you turn back towards the way you came, noting the very, well, blank-minded individual of the ogre that begins making its way up behind you, Alencia and Zanashi, is just still drooling, as you had noticed before, Alencia, the spittle making its way all the way to the ground.
Where
Take a step back.
where
What
was
is it exactly?
the
A spider?
An ogre with a metal and wooden contraption on its back. From what you had noticed, it kind of acts as a catapult that can shoot goblins, as it had shot Togo just the night before.
Gubbo, where was the red tree? Where did they take it from?
Down in south.
How far south?
Not far. You want to look?
Can we get there before sunrise? Before dinner?
Well, we already ate. As Gobbo looks up, and each of you noting, after making your way through the canopy that practically blocks out the sunlight, as the ancient forest had done, we are times making your way through, noting that it is night.
And I'm looking around to see if the horse is there or not.
Your horse is here.
Very nice. And has our friend here been fed as well?
If he not live, then Gobbo get no gold.
Very true. All right, well then, what do you say we put your red tree back here? Are you sure this is not the red tree?
It not look like it.
What did
Not
the red
even
tree
same
look
color.
like? What did the red tree look like?
Leaves are red.
I look at these. Well, that was when it was in the ground, correct? This is what the color that leaves turn when they get out of the ground, when trees are ripped out of the ground.
Oh, that not good.
So we need to put it back in the ground, and maybe that will bring it back to life, and the leaves will turn back. Is it the same size?
Yeah.
All right.
And at this point, the ogre makes its way over to the tree as Gobbo leads each of you just roughly about 15 yards, just a little bit off the path. And as an opening in the forest, just as like this encampment, but quite a bit smaller in size, there is an empty hole right in the center. Gobbo instructs the ogre to place it into the hole, and then the ogre does so, begins to cover it up, the roots, with a bit of dirt. Then Gobbo will take out 2 rocks, one from a satchel on his left hip and one from a satchel on the right. Okay, these are they're gonna be allowed, so maybe you plug ears.
And yeah, I'll step away and plug my ears.
I'll do the same.
I'm going to try and put a tree between me and Gobbo as well.
Okay.
I want to watch. I may step away a little bit and plug my ears, but I'm going to watch.
It's with everyone else.
So taking a bit of a step back, Gobbo will just yell click and clack as he smacks these 2 rocks together, and a stream of water will begin to emit from the center of both the rocks. Then, making its way over to the tree, quite a decent amount of water then just begins to emit from the stream. Just continues to pour, softening the ground a bit. You can see the tree sink in just a tad bit. And then after that places both the rocks back in their respective satchels, then turning and saying, "I hope not too loud." But from each of your perspective, the loudest part being just when Gabo said click and clack himself.
Didn't seem that loud at all. And I'm gonna. Is anything happening with the tree out of the ordinary?
Nothing like of note. I mean, other than being, the educated individual that you are, Modar, and I mean, most of you probably noting this as well. Just basically watering a plant, making sure that it sets. Nothing out of the ordinary.
I go no, like instant, like magical, anything.
Correct.
Okay.
Nothing of that
Okay.
nature.
I am gonna walk up to where the tree is and kind of. So, Gabo, what is this tree to you?
Tree speak.
It talks to you?
Mm-hmm. It tell Gabo what do.
The tree talks to you, or somebody talks through the tree?
Gabo pretty sure a tree.
Does it move or just talk?
Hmm? It goes. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. We talk about this.
Yeah. I thought it was more of a whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Something like that. It changed sometime.
Okay.
Did you forget, Modar?
Apparently.
What happened? You get hit on head?
No, that was me.
Oh. Oh, yeah, that right. You okay?
Yeah. I have a hard head.
All right, well then, I guess we will have to wait and see. It should hopefully, it seems to be a good strong tree. It should take root again. Do you know why they took it from you?
Because they know it talk.
Yeah, I would
Well.
want a talking tree, if we're being honest.
Well, they are all dead.
All?
All the ones we saw.
Oh. How many?
14 of them?
2 hands and 1 foot.
Wow.
I'll hold up my fingers. And then point down to his toes.
Wait, how many toes does he have?
You'll notice that where there should be 8, but are only 7 with 1 missing.
That's about right.
Well, maybe 1.5 feet.
That lot. I Gabo not see that many.
Well, there may be more that come another day, but that's all that was there today.
It no matter. We leave. We go get gold.
Yes, we will.
Well, you will. We're going the opposite direction.
Yes, Gabo. That is when I will be leading you up towards Mido. From what each of them have already explained, we will be a bit behind, but with the goblins arriving in the morning, we will set out from there. If they come.
Well, if they don't come, and you guys set off in the morning, we can inform them that Gabo is extremely displeased when we run across them, and that if they don't follow Gabo, Gabo will find them and make things very unpleasant. How does that sound?
Out of curiosity, Gabo, do you have a way of contacting the Druids?
I mean, I can. Why? They're usually kind of mean.
I have something I would like to discuss with them.
Okay, but we not do with magic. We have to do slow. Send signal.
That
you
is
have a-
fine.
That is fine. If you have a way of sending a signal, and when they get here, I promise you no magic.
Okay, because Gobbo not want to die.
Did they give you the rocks?
Shh.
Got it.
Understood.
Okay. Well, Gobbo can send signal, but it probably take them bit. Long time.
That's fine. Long time as in a week long time, or a long time as in 2 or 3 days?
Or like an hour.
He'll shrug. It change.
Fair enough.
He'll make his way into his tent, and then when he comes out, you'll see him holding a leather satchel. And then he'll make his way over and to each of the surrounding campfires from that middle large pedestal area where the bard was once performing. Will then take handfuls of what you see to be this dark-colored powder. As it hits each of the flames one by one, the flames turn from this bright orangey color, just as, each normal campfire looks. Then the flames turn purple. And with a bit of purplish smoke beginning to emit, floating into the sky, the plume of smoke, the column, grows thicker and thicker as each of the campfires have this powder-like substance thrown in.
Thank you. And with that, we will start to set up our camp for the night.
As we do, Valencia will just say, So, can someone give me the summary of the discussion? My head was spinning.
We're gonna go sleep, and the druids are coming, and Gobbo's waiting on some goblins from the south, and then they're gonna go up.
Yes, Mito is going to use them in the war effort. They're going to join the war effort.
Yeah.
That was the entire conversation then.
More or less.
Ah, good lord. Jesus, that's...
We also put the tree back, and it's over
For
there.
you, Valencia. I just let them do the talking.
Yeah, my goblin comprehensions has not been great lately.
Well, each of you can easily set up camp, no issue. There seems to be quite a bit more room. Without the number of goblins here from when you had previously left, it seems about 1/3 of the numbers are still in camp. But if nothing else is to be taken care of, we can move through our short rest and make our way into the next day.
Before sleeping, I'm gonna play a nice little relaxing tune for all of us for an extra 1d6 hit die if anyone rolls them.
I'm definitely going to be rolling.
Yeah, I am too. I just got to find the hit dice on this thing.
If you're on your D&D Beyond sheet, just hit short rest and then hit
Roll
hit
hit die.
dice.
Yeah, I found it. Yeah.
Anything that you'd like to add for this song here, Togo? Little,
mostly
words
just
of inspiration, I guess, maybe.
Inspirational, really. Or mostly just, sorry, not inspirational, instrumentation. Like, strumming on my loops, leaning back, up near the fire, not too much.
And And as you said, this is an extra D6 per hit dice rolled.
I think it's just
One?
1d6. Regain hit points at the end of a short rest by spending one or more hit die. Each of those creatures regain an extra 1d6.
And then we gain a hit die at the end, right? Correct?
Indeed. After the rest is completed, whatever you spend, you'll gain one back.
Oh, you're saying we'll gain one back?
Yeah, so if you
Yeah.
spend 3, you'll have 2 after the short rest.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, with you all being level 5, if you had 3 left over from previous rest, if you spend 2, then when you get one back, you'll still have 2 left over. But if you spend all 3, then you'll have 1.
Yes.
But, from the looks of it, everyone is good with their hit dice. And all that is taken care of. So, before we step away to take a break, since all that is taken care of, the next thing of note, as each of you wake up, being wakened fairly early in the morning, you begin to hear footsteps around and outside of the camp. Soon enough, as each of you make your way outside, the numbers seem to have more than quadrupled, if not more, than the previous night.
Oh, shit.
Roll initiative.
No, and then that's where we'll go ahead and take our break. As each of you see that these numbers and the return of not just the Goblin tribe, it's the ones that were sent, but with a vast amount of numbers as well. And with that, we will be right back. So, stay tuned. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. All right, and we're back with more of the Fragments of Remains. As the party wakes up, seeing these numerous amounts of goblins that have arrived as the sun begins to peek over, just emanating a bit of light into the encampment. The fires still burning a bit, the embers trickling out a bit of the sterile purplish smoke up above. Each of you can see that the column has diminished quite a bit from when they were at full strength. But at this point, can each of you give me a perception check? All right, so each of you would note that while these goblins have appeared in a vast amount of numbers, quite a bit of them look as if they've never seen combat, and if they have, we're very lucky to get out alive. Very, very small in comparison to some of the other goblins. They just seem frail and weak in comparison.
I write down on a sheet of paper, I confirm I can neither read nor write. And I say, here, Gobbo. Read this.
Okay, listen up. Are you serious? I thought this was important.
What? Well, why would you think it's important? I was just curious.
I
If
can
you would
read.
read it out loud. I was just curious if you would read it out loud.
I mean, why would I lie?
I never asked you if you could read. I was just curious if you would read it out loud.
Like I said, I thought this was important.
And I'll sit back down and start chuckling and say, write out a letter to. Oh, what was her name? Shoot, I don't have the name of that lady.
Well, while you think of it, Gobbo will then say, okay, that not important. What important is, goblins want gold, right? And as all the goblins begin to cheer, some hoisting these very primitive weapons into the sky as they cheer along. We go get gold. They have it in Mito.
Well, you join the army and they pay you gold to fight in Mito.
Yeah. We go kill snake things.
Yes. Yes. You join with the army in Mito and you go fight.
Well, do you think that this is enough of these goblins? Gobbo, shall we be making our way? We'll take a bit of time to get to all of us there safely. What do you guys think? We go now?
The
Well,
sooner
at
you
this
go,
point-
the better.
Yeah, I think that's a great plan. I'll point at Modar and use message to say, did we promise them to give the money for the horse, or for keeping the horse? And if so, can we get out of that?
I think I just promised not to kill him.
Got it.
Well,
That is true.
right? Yes, it was that. I more or less just threatened them if it didn't live that they would die.
You scared them off with a creepy voice.
The only one I promised, or I said I would pay, is what's his name? And I think I've already paid him half. Correct?
Indeed. Vince you gave him half, and then the other half, which he told you was, I believe, a hefty amount of 3 gold.
Yeah.
Which is, no issue for you, but
Oh, yeah, never mind.
that is
Yeah, well,
to
we're-
make sure that they get there safely.
To make sure that they got there safely. Yes. And I am going to write a letter stating, well, I'm going to sign it, and I'm going to write a letter saying that when he gets there, I would like that I've sent the goblins there to join the fight, and that the human traveling with them to be paid 5 gold pieces. The Snowhair Guild will reimburse the wheat civet if they would please do that. I did not want to pay the individual beforehand. On my honor, I will make sure that the wheat civet is reimbursed the 5 gold. And this is in return to, and that I hope that this will be sufficient to help the war effort and prove my loyalty to Mito and keeping these lands safe.
I hope you have that written out for me.
I can more or
If
less
not,
write it out.
I have a good outline of it.
Yeah, that's I didn't actually write it down, but that was just
Okay.
a general outline of what.
Good. All right. So
I'll write it down and put it somewhere. But this is all recorded, right?
yeah,
Good.
I mean, like I said, I've got a pretty good general outline.
But basically, and I will hand it to him and say, all right, when you arrive in Mito, you are to go to the wheat civet, bring this to their leader, and tell them that you are there on behest of Modar of the Snowhair Guild.
Yes, we'll do so. I'll make sure that they all make it there in one piece, and well, shouldn't take more than a couple days' time.
Well, I would not lose that note there. That this letter is your guarantee of being paid once you arrive.
Well, once I arrive is when my worry will cease to exist. My more concern is going along the road with so many of these goblins as he gestures around and the vast amount that have now gathered at the camp.
I don't know. I think they seem like a pretty lively group. It might be fun to travel with, honestly.
Who knows? Maybe you'll even learn a note or two on your way.
Yeah, you practice your playing.
I
It'd be
did
great.
I did that to just stay alive, but if it keeps them off my back, perhaps it would be wise to learn a few notes.
Yes. Well, Togo, could you
I
help
walk
the young
over
lad
and
for a little while? Try and teach him a few notes to
show
keep
him
them
quick-
some marching what do they call that? Marching hymns, I guess.
Cadences?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Zanashi, can you confirm?
Yes, I can confirm it.
I'll show him a quick couple notes on the. What does he have? A lute?
Indeed.
Show him a quick couple notes on the lute that he can strum and push his hands in there and be like, yeah. So you push that there and then strum down. Yeah, you hear how that sounds better than if you just kind of strum it with nothing. Yeah, okay. Now do this one, and then this one. Okay, now do those 3 in sequence. All right. Yeah. Okay. Just keep doing that on repeat.
At first,
music teacher.
At first, can you give me a, what would this be? Just give me a performance check. Yeah, so I mean, you definitely know exactly what you're doing, and you can hear that the notes when him strumming at first are a little flat, and I mean, it kind of makes you cringe just a bit. But then with the simplicity of in the rhythmic pattern that you were showing him for the notes, he picks it up maybe a little bit quicker than you may have anticipated with just how bad it was when he had, first begun to learn the pattern. But nonetheless, while it may not be perfect, it is pretty good.
Yeah, see, there you go. Much better.
It's not too hard. I think that if there were a bit more notes involved, then I'd be a bit lost, but keeping it simple seems to do the job. And as both of you look over, you see that the surrounding goblins in the immediate area are nodding their heads back and forth, seeming to enjoy the tunes.
All right. Well, do we have anything else that we need to do here, or can we set off towards the road and get back to, or get headed towards Raisk?
The only thing I was waiting on
Oh,
was the
yeah.
Druids if they showed up. I believe we can relax here. I would like to make sure we see the goblins off. Once they're off, then and then we can go if the Druids show. If not, I'll leave another note saying that we're headed to Raisk and that the lizards are dead and that they were residing over a entrance into the Underdark. I'll kind of put it underneath one of the I don't know, someplace that looks noticeable is where they find it if they showed up around the camp. If they don't show up before we leave.
Well, not taking very long at all after your conversation, the goblins seem to pack up everything fairly quickly, and roughly in about a half hour's time, they all begin to depart, with Vince, Sturgill, and Gabo leading the way.
While we're kind of sitting there waiting, I'll go, Zanashi, Alencia, I'm surprised you guys didn't find anything on all the lizard men's corpses.
I mean, last time we looted them, they had nothing of note.
I was distracted.
Fair, but like that was their home base. I'm surprised they didn't have anything on them.
I doubt they have any luxuries or.
I mean, I'm sure, but if they had like correspondence, I bet I'm just surprised they didn't have any like correspondence or anything between the matron mothers or like what they were telling people to look for. Really odd they didn't have that on them.
Togo, are you saying you'd like to go back and check for something like that?
No. I mean, like if they didn't find that, we spent a while there, so let's head down to Raisk. It's just
Yeah.
odd, you know?
Indeed, yes. Let's go.
So, leaving the note behind for the Druids, which path would you like to take? Making your way out of the forest to the east, down to the road, making your way into Raisk, or trudging through the forest? Because, as each of you are well aware, making your way through the forest will diminish the amount of distance you can cover throughout the day.
The road. I'm all for the road.
Yeah, I'm all about the road.
Yep.
So, making it roughly just to the outskirts of Raisk, the first thing of note that you will each pick up is making your way through a bit of the ancient forest as you see it trudge over from the west side of the road over towards the east and stretch off into the plains. Making your way up, you see a few tribal camps set up on the outside. You will note from the appearance of such, there seems to be a lot of bone skeletons that representing of deer and other sorts of plain animals, and leathery tents as you make your way past the forest the city of Raisk having no wall that surrounds it seems to be very open. Set just on the outsides and on the outskirts of the ancient forest, the city of Raisk you find to be home to plentiful amounts of humans, goblins, orcs, minotaurs, centaurs, and other various races. Minus the encampments from the two tribes, you'll note that there's also a vast amount of farmland that seems to be surrounding the city as well. Being protected, as each of you know, of the Druid Council and who they have indicated as Captain Chilson, while to be in command while they are departed from the city. You know the laws for magic and everything as you begin to make your approach. The buildings, mainly constructed out of wood and mud and having palms and hay for roofs. This is definitely a much more primitive and, I would say, connected with the world of Elista as in comparison to other cities. But as I said, seeming very open, would get you each continuing to make your way?
Oh yeah,
do
I'm not slowing down. If we're headed here, we're headed here.
Do we pass a lot of people traveling on the road? Are there a lot of people coming in with carts and farmers and travelers and things like that, or is it fairly empty?
So the road is actually a bit busy. While they don't seem to be going too far from the outskirts of town, mainly making their way to just the farthest amounts of farmlands and just to the beginning of the tree line. There is definitely a good amount of people compared to what was on the previous days of travel along the road. But none of you really seem to have pulled much attention or anything of that manner. Everyone seems to be just tending to their business.
Okay. Just try and
But
find
as
a way in and look for a tavern, then would be what I would want to do.
So as shared with you, as you make your way into the northern side, you see a post indicating the directions of various amounts of places. More notably, you see the Watchtower Armory, and what probably more so than anything catches Zanashi's eye is the shrine of Nula and Dramir.
Ooh, what's it made of?
But with that in mind, as each of you continue to make your way farther into the city, getting away from the outskirts and more primitive areas, you see it quickly turn into a more modern style of what each of you are used to as you make your way towards the center areas. The buildings being made of mainly wood, you see that there are quite a bit of decorative materials used. Flowers, vines, and other various things from nature, giving it a bit more of a vibrant feel. The roofs made of hewed wood.
Huh, this is a cool town, guys. If it wasn't for, like, the kind of weird laws here, like, I could dig it.
It
Well,
is quite cute.
I will say this: it's the no magic seems to have slowed their natural progression along. They're very, very much so not as advanced as most of the other civilizations I've seen. But I suppose that goes with not having the ability to actually accomplish things quickly.
Yeah, I bet that goes hand in hand. That's a good point, Modar.
Do we see a lot of like soldiers or uniformed individuals running around? Does it seem to be like some sort of a city guard or
You seem
something?
to find a decent amount of city guard. Nothing in comparison to the guard amount in our troop amount, if you will, in other cities such as Mito and back in Vala. One thing that I would like to note, Modar, for you, more particularly spending your entire life in Vala, after being away from a bit of time, it seems a bit more easy to breathe. You don't have that heavy air and smog-like pollution um, that you've been breathing in day to day as you had practically your entire life up until recently.
It does say something about the air, though. It is more refreshing. But we will see what happens here. I don't know. I'm look around for the. You said there's a couple of chapels. Does there seem to be like a palace or a like capitol building, something that looks like it's in charge of everything?
So from the um, posts and signs that you've seen in the city, the main thing that you've seemed to pick up is the direction for the Watchtower
All right, I'll
in
head in that
regards to that.
direction. Well, I suppose we need to check in with the local authorities.
What was
If
it,
you don't want
Officer
to do that,
Chilson?
I understand. And looking at Zanashi,
No. I'll just chill out.
does there look like there's like an area that's got like a tavern or inn and things like that?
Let me
And
just turn this.
we weren't greeted by guards or anything trying to like take our magic items or anything like that as we entered the city. Nobody's approached us.
No, in comparison with the strict laws that are set forth, you walked into the city quite freely. And with the guards and everything around, I mean, no one seems to have paid much attention. I mean, other than catching a glimpse here and there, but mainly from you, Modar, and Alencia being two very out of place individuals in this area. Togo and Sanashi being a bit more commonplace.
Okay. This is just seeming like a very, very, very large town.
Definitely, indeed. Well, I suppose we should go introduce ourselves and see what if we can find any information. Something tells me that we're not going to find anything here. We may want to continue south, rest for a few days if need be, but definitely head south towards the. See if we can find any more information about the Celestial Veil.
I'll look for a guard and then grab him and say, excuse me, I was wondering where I might find Officer Chilson? Chilson? Chilson?
Chilson. Oh,
Yes.
oh,
Captain,
find
I
the captain
believe.
over in the Watchtower. That's for sure.
Captain. Okay, the Watchtower? Got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Well, be safe.
Thank you, thank you. And then I'll head over to the Watchtower. I'm assuming we're all headed that way.
Yep, definitely headed in that direction.
So, as each of you make your way there, you'll notice this female human standing outside this roughly 3-4 story tall tower made of 2 stories of stone and 2 stories from what its appearance seems to be before the opening on the top, if you combine it, of made of wood. And out front, a very short cut down to her shoulders, blonde female human stands, a long bow set across her back with the bowstring stretching across her chest. You see her dressed in studded leather armor with a quiver that rests crossing the bow on her back. Well, you get towards the lines. You've got to prepare more for the brawl that's going to take part. Make sure there's plenty of guards there.
Brawl.
As she looks up, the guard that stood before her, giving her a salute and then following the order. Yes, brawl. With that question, I assume that you're new here.
Oh,
That I am. Is this a reward for being in the brawl?
If you can defeat the champion, then of course. But most have found their efforts to be fruitless, to say the least.
Consider me your new champion.
She'll begin with holding back a bit of a smirk and then just snicker a bit as she says, excuse me. I don't mean to be of any offense, but no one's been able to dethrone the champion for quite some time.
What's this woman look like?
Like medium length, blonde hair with the studded leather armor. Seems to have a good equipment of a longbow and some arrows.
Older, younger, what?
Roughly in her early 30s in age.
MILF. Just what I need.
What?
So when I beat your champion, I claim you as my reward on top of the other stuff.
By the gods, no.
Well, if you've got all the confidence in the world in your champion, then why not? Why not
Then I will
just
place my gold where my mouth is.
how much gold?
With my confidence, I'd be willing to bet 100 gold to see my profits rise.
What time is this brawl taking place at?
We'll be beginning tomorrow midday.
Midday. Got it. And where is it happening at?
By the heavens, you are all definitely quite new to the area.
We walked into the town, and that's about all we've seen of it. Coming from the north, traveling down this way for some sightseeing, exploring, the usual.
Well, if you've come for some sightseeing, then the Maiden in the Cauldron will be a sight to behold come midday tomorrow. It will be, well...
Why would y'all put a woman in a cauldron? Are y'all
Not
practicing
and.
witchcraft?
Not in and.
Yeah, maiden and cauldron, not maiden in cauldron. I know, very easy to mistake.
Well, I could have swore she said the maiden in the cauldron.
I don't think they're cannibals here. That would be very odd. You don't eat people, right?
I believe that I do believe that the Druids did mention something of this brawl. That's the festival, going along with a festival or something of the sort, if I remember correctly.
Where do I go sign up?
At the tavern, you'll find there to be a small entry fee, and then if there's bets to be placed, well, if you're lucky, you'll be able to earn some extra coin.
Are there any guidelines to this?
Physical brute strength, well, no killing, of course. The first to fall unconscious, well, of the two will then be removed.
So these are
Do they get to
one-on-one
use
matches.
weapons?
Fist only.
Oh, really? I might partake in this.
Are you sure you want to do this, Elista? Because you're going to end up having to fight me.
Well, if I'm ending
If
up
you don't get
fighting
knocked out.
you, then
Hold on.
still make a profit, I think.
I'm going to go over and pull Elisa to the side and whisper where this woman guard can't hear me. I like where you're going with this. And that should be our plan, is to each fight each other in the end. Well, I don't know how we can do that since only one of us can fight the champion. But perhaps if we have to fight each other, we find out what the odds are and obviously make some kind of wager in our favor financially.
Between the two of us, yes. However, I do think that whoever beats the other will have a better chance at defeating the champion. And I don't think we've ever really fought with our bare hands before.
This champion you speak of, the name wouldn't be Sanzar, would it?
Nay, that's the one that'll be helping put it together, though.
Okay. I'm sorry, on the road you know how it is on the road, you hear many names. Sometimes the information isn't always 100% accurate.
Well, I see that you got a book at your waist. I'm going to guess that each of you are aware of the rules here.
We have an
Yes.
idea of them.
No magic, yes, I understand.
Other than protecting your lives, if magic is used and you are caught, then you will be punished to death.
Yes, we have spoken with the Druids about this.
Yeah, we ran into, what was his name? Orm? And Wes? Yeah, that's who we ran into on the road.
So you had seen them on the road. Well, any word of their return?
No, last we spoke to them, they sent us to go investigate a, cavern filled with lizard men that were harassing the road, and then
And?
they went off and, well, there's a cavern there, but there's no more lizard men harassing the road, as far as we can tell.
Well, then please wait a moment. I will return just momentarily. As she then turns and briskly begins to make her way inside the tower, leaving the door open. Each of you hear a bit of rummaging going on inside. And just about a minute later, she returns with a small lockbox made of iron. Well, if there's proof of any of this, well, then I believe that this payment is yours.
I pull out the piece of paper that I had drawn, and inside the cave there was a boat, or parts of a boat, and we found this dagger inside, or part of a dagger inside a tree that one of the goblin tribes had been interested in.
That's quite too large to be a dagger, but nonetheless, this means nothing. If there's no proof, I do apologize, but there can be no reward.
Shot.
Oh, I understand. What you're looking, essentially you're looking for scalps then, correct?
Yeah, probably.
Ears, perhaps, something of proof. From my understanding, they do have scales.
Yes, no, we did not. We did not take any such trophies when we left them. If you send your men to the, if you do send your men to the caves, you will, you should find the bodies as long as no more have come from the Underdark. Oh, and that is the other thing. There was an entrance to the Underdark there.
Speaking of
They were
which,
camped outside of a entrance to the Underdark.
I'm just saying, Modar, you said that really nonchalantly.
Yeah, I did.
That's
I
what made
wasn't-
it so much funnier.
Yeah, that was the intent there.
But you'll see her being quite taken back at the mention of this. To the Underdark, that's a myth. There's no openings to.
I look
Well,
I look from her to our friend who obviously came from the Underdark, back to her, and say, if anybody would know anything of these such things, wouldn't it be a group like us?
Drow, to be real, is not what I'm referencing. The openings to the areas well, from what I've learned in my time, are to be closed.
well, there was a gigantic pit that was about 40 feet across that, as we were driving them from the surface and came down and were killing the lizard men, they were fleeing, trying to get towards, thinking it would save them. And it went so far down that the light of our torches and candles didn't illuminate it. And it looked like it went off into other directions, and there were seeming to be underground tunnels. And whether it is a large expanse that goes on for hundreds of thousands of miles, potentially, who knows? You know what? You're right. I have no idea. But there is a very large underground tunnel system there that could be part of the Underdark.
As she shouts out, you two, the orc and the drow, stop whispering amongst yourselves and step forth.
my apologies.
Is this true, drow?
There are many entrances to the Underdark, and I came from one of them.
Many, you say. Where is the other that you speak of?
I know of 3. One is to the northwest of Meadow. One is to the west coast in the forest in Raisk, and the third one is directly north of Glens.
Well, then it seems that I have a bit of planning to do. I will need to send word of this information immediately. If there's nothing else of note that each of you have to mention, then I must get to work right this moment.
One of the goblin tribes went north to Meadow to help out with the war in Laels. I don't know if that interests you or not. Just passing news we hear.
Why would you send such unintelligent creatures to go?
Why do you think we sent them? I just said that they went. We learned that on the way.
That just seems a mess waiting to happen in days' time. Oh,
You need all the help you can get, right?
Is Race helping with the war in Laels?
It's the wheat civet. If they have anything to do with the wheat civet, they are.
the people
Man,
of
I didn't-
Raisk are free to choose as they will. When it comes to any manner of their endeavors or leaving the area, they can do so if they wish. No one is held here. They choose to stay here. But nonetheless, I must say it will be a bit of a relief without the abundance of goblins in the area.
Just out of curiosity, how much sway does the wheat civet hold here in this region?
None at all.
So
If anything, the council would hold more sway in Meadow than Meadow does in Raisk. Meadow has adopted our culture, if you will. or way that we set forth our laws in order to maintain order and keep peace, as we had done for over 1,000 years, unlike Laos.
Well, I wouldn't say Mito is exactly like Race. They seem to be a little more authoritarian at a glance, at least. You seem to
Yeah, I
at
don't feel
least.
like I'm gonna be accosted in the streets when I'm here, but Mito, I feel like I'm getting felt up every 5 minutes for. You doing magic? You doing? No, I can follow rules. Like you guys seem pretty cool so far. Like I'm kind of into it actually.
Well, I guess that is my next question. Do you have a group of individuals who are allowed to use magic like they do in Mito, or is everybody banned equally?
Well, most that have such capabilities are kept under a fairly tight watch, especially within the limits of Vraisk itself. However, within the city, myself and the council that are able to use magic freely, but never do so in a more apprehensive way, if you will.
Why is it that you're allowed to use it but no one else is?
That's what tilts the balance.
Yes, in a dictatorship.
But nonetheless holds the peace.
Because you suppress the people from being able to do what they want.
Well, I understand the need to make sure that those with power use it accordingly, but sometimes it can be overstepped.
Well, as I had
What
mentioned,
did you say your name was?
my name is Captain Chilson.
Ah, perfect.
Nonetheless, as I had mentioned, if those that wish to exercise those abilities freely are able to leave, if they do so wish. Arriving to the city of Zalfari is just a day and a half, if not 2 days of travel.
City of what city did you say?
A small village of Zalfari, just to the
Silveri?
north.
It's that one that we were talking about potentially stopping by on our way south. But we ended up bypassing it when we ran into the Druids and they told us about the lizard folk.
Oh yes. Sorry, it's been quite a interesting few days.
To say the least. Ah,
Yes, I remember that.
So
well,
Nashi,
we-
just so you know, I did get your PM.
Okay.
by the way, Captain Chilson, if we were to find a nice inn tavern or so, which one would you suggest for some dust-covered travelers such as ourselves?
Well, I myself am not as fond of having quite large crowds below me when I try to sleep above, as the Maiden Cauldron seems to get a bit more on the rowdy side into the later parts of the evening and early morning hours. The belly hop, well, may not be as luxurious, but definitely you will find yourselves more comfortable in that atmosphere.
Ooh, I like comfortable. Belly hop it is.
Well, if you follow this road down this way, you will come to a bit of a fork. Just bypass that before making your way just a bit farther, there's plenty of signs and, well, guards to guide you if need be.
That sounds wonderful. I appreciate it. Appreciate all your help here.
Well, thank you. Do you know if you expect the Druid Council to be back in the area anytime soon?
Well, I would assume that they would be back before the brawl begins, but other than that, it depends on their routine trip around the area.
Fair enough. Well, yes, I would definitely strongly suggest sending somebody to the area and checking that cavern out. And I don't know if you have anybody with the ability to set defenses up around there other than the council itself, but it may be a smart move.
I will take it into consideration. Thank you for your guidance. If you keep following this road down to the northwest, you'll run an outpour into the market area. You'll see the belly hop from there.
Yes, sir.
And is there much of a do you have much of a seaport here or not?
A bit of a dock along the farmlands, but nothing to brag about. Enough to get some ships and trade in. Which, at this point, she seems to be kind of focused on you, Togo, after your "yes, sir" comment.
Oh wait, it's a her. Sorry.
Out of curiosity, do you know anything about the Celestial Veil, or know where I could go to find any information on it?
I would suggest staying away from such places. It's, well, from word that I've heard, not in the best condition. That's the best I can give you of what I know to be true. Tales of beasts from other worlds, death, decay, mention of numerous other things, but nonetheless, all seeming to be bad.
Thank you.
Well, as I said, I have
So I
plenty
take it.
to get done. If there's nothing else, I must be getting to work now.
Absolutely. Thank you for your help.
Appreciate your time.
Well, enjoy yourselves. There will be an eye kept on you at all times. Please be aware of such things.
Oh, I'm used to being the center of attention. That's no problem.
At this point, she'll just turn after bidding each of you a good day. Well, a good evening. And then make her way back into the tower, shutting the door behind her.
Me and Zanashi discussed that perhaps I would have the best chance at beating this champion fellow.
I'm sure they'll all find it entertaining for either of you to attempt such a thing.
I'll support you, Alicia.
If you want to enter the brawl as well, you can.
You guys might as well both enter the brawl, and if you gotta come up against each other, like, you might as well have a good old-fashioned tussle to see who wins.
I think Zanashi may be afraid to see who would actually win in that fight.
Never. But I need to support Alicia. She needs this.
Okay. Off to the belly hop?
It starts
Ugh.
midday tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's the other tavern. I was thinking getting rooms and trying to...
Yeah, the belly hops are
Relax.
going to get the rooms, and then the maiden and the cauldron is where they need to sign up for the brawl, and we need to speak with. Oh, I just had her name.
Sorens.
Yes, something like that.
Sandsor. We're supposed to buy her drinks, then ask about boats.
Yeah, get her drunk. Yes.
All right.
Well,
So rooms first.
Yes.
with that in mind, as each of you make your way into the market area, following the directions from Captain Shilson, you quickly find the Belly Hop Brewery. And with the outside appearance being constructed of mainly wood, you'll see that there are a few stone bases and columns that are supporting this bit of an awning. This two-storied, mainly timbered building lets out a little bit of smoke and these what almost seem to be mist, a bit of fog, almost in appearance, with these two large tankards that are outside, both connected with a tube. But as each of you make your way in, you'll be greeted by a dwarf, and this male dwarf with an orange beard and orange mohawk, bit of tattoos upon the face, one of a hammer and that one of a crescent moon on the other side, one on each cheek. Looks at you, this apron, quite stained with what each of you can easily assume to be different types of ale. Looks at you and says, greetings! Well, welcome to the brewery. What can I do for you?
Brewery. We were told we could get a couple rooms here, but is that a
Aye, that you
misnomer,
can.
or can we sleep and drink?
Oh, you can do both.
Oh, this is my kind of place.
As you look around, you see this very small tavern area on the inside. Only a few tables in comparison to the larger taverns that you've been in, especially that in comparison of those in smaller villages. This one, quite small. We serve our drinks, but it's mainly we mainly deal with trade. But if each of you looking for a room, well, that can be accommodated. No issue.
Wonderful. Yeah, we'll take
Yes.
4 rooms then, I guess.
It's nothing to be, well, grand, if you will, but it'll get you a good night's sleep, to say the least. My name's,
It's not dirt.
Oi, that it's not. My name's Mare. Each of you?
Mer?
Yes.
Pleasure to meet you, Mer.
The rooms will be just 2 silver apiece, and unfortunately, I've only got 2. The third one is mine.
Take 2 rooms, that'll work.
Normally, only the captain stays here from time to time. Not many folks from out of town. What brings you all in?
Oh, we were traveling through and we heard about the festival tomorrow, the brawls, and a couple of our number were interested in watching and partaking. So we thought we'd stay for a couple days and rest up before heading on out.
Those two, the orc and the elf. What the hell
Yeah.
are you?
I am an elf.
Well, good luck to each of you. If it were me, not that I'm willing to take a few punches in the face, but if you'd make it past a few rounds, maybe it's just better to bet against yourself.
They're tougher than they look. I promise you that.
Well, I'm sure that they are, but nonetheless, this one hasn't lost in months. This Minotaur, I mean, I've even seen him kill a person.
And how many lizards has he killed in the last month?
Oh no, in the brawl. This happens once a month. Beginning of each month, a brawl is held. Helps blow off a bit of steam. Tribes send in their champions, if you will. And, well, round by round, the people kind of just beat the shit out of each other. I mean, there's really no other way to put it.
I'm sure he's very strong. And for those of us participating, I would feel at least a little bit satisfied if we take him down a peg or two.
Well, just looking over you two, and if maybe you stand a chance, maybe you don't. I guess time will tell. Nonetheless, if you make it there, I'll be watching. Maybe you can make me a few coins as well.
Yes, possibly. We can always watch a few fights. How many competitors are there usually?
Varies from time to time. It's been diminishing ever since the champion has taken his place. Hell, I don't even remember what the lad's name is. I just referred to him as the champion for so long. At this point, well, that's his name.
Well, fighting in a ring and real world fighting are not always the same.
True, but they're fighting in a ring where he's been really good, and they've been doing real world fighting. So
True. We will see what happens. Well, thank you, sir. When do they start the signups for this fight?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, it ends tonight.
All right. Well, then I suppose we should make sure that you're signed up if you really want to get involved in this.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You pay a few coin to enter. Maybe you win the prize. Maybe you don't. Yeah, the worst case, you just get a good ass kicking.
I thought you said he's killed somebody in the ring.
That was one time. I don't think it'll happen again. But it can.
Nobody will die. That's for certain.
To be fair, I think it was just someone who didn't really need any business being inside the ring. I mean, from the looks of it, you and your smaller friend there, as he gestures towards you, Modar and Togo. But Togo, you and this dwarf being roughly the same size, him just maybe a half inch to an inch taller. Well, for an example, it doesn't seem that either of you would, find a place in the ring.
Well, and Modar will just point at his head. Well, some of us use other things in a fight. And just pointing at his head. And then down to the book on his waist.
Why?
But
and some use ale, as he gestures with a tankard.
But this is
I
not
like
a
his
place-
way of fighting.
But this is not the way that type of fighting, so I will definitely not be participating. That's up to my two friends here. Well then, thank you very much, sir. Yes, we will take the 2 rooms.
Okay, if 2 rooms, just a few silver, and then I can give you your keys.
I'll throw him a gold and say, you guys go ahead, and I'm going to sit here and register, and I'm going to sit here and have a couple drinks and maybe a meal and hang out for the evening for a little bit. And
Do you have stables for our horse?
Well, if you're willing to spend this amount of coin, I'll make it happen.
And I'll grab a second coin and flip it to him. I want to make sure he has the best. And Also, we may be in the market to purchase some more horses. If you know any good stables in the area selling.
To be honest, it's not necessarily the best places to find steeds, if you will. The centaurs don't really, well, appreciate such things.
Got it.
So you ride the centaurs?
If you want to fucking die,
We saw somebody riding on a centaur.
most don't fucking like that. But that one must have had a good bond.
I suppose. Well, thank you very
Nonetheless,
much.
I'll keep an ear out, near to the ground, if you will. But don't get your hopes up. I'll have to keep this one hidden as is.
Thank you very much.
But if
And
your
I will-
goal is to sign up for the brawl, y'all better get down there quickly. Might be already
And-
closed.
Yes, definitely go ahead, and we'll unpack whatever we can to put in the rooms while they take off, and then I'll follow them.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hang out at the tavern and drink some drinks, chat up any patrons in there, just doing my normal like story gathering routine. Maybe doing a couple pointed questions about flying ships. If I'd heard some tales and I was working on a song and I'm trying to piece together stories. If anyone had heard anything, I'm more than willing to buy drinks and stuff like that and pour some drinks into people to try and.
Okay.
Alencia will just drop off all her weapons in the room she's sharing, and then go back and sign up for the thing.
Sanashi, you doing the same thing as Valencia?
Yeah.
Okay. So with Zanashi and Alencia quickly setting down their wares in order to make their way over as quickly as possible to the Madron and Cauldron, you all arrive there within, 15 minutes of time. It's not too far away, just not having a full sense of direction on where it is. But just being on the southern edges of the town, well, in comparison from the market area of where each of you are, you make your way there, and seeing a very nice two-storied tavern. The first story made of wood. You see that the door is made an iron portcullis that is raised up, allowing patrons to move in and out. On both sides of the entryway, you see two sconces, both lit, giving off a bit of light, as two minotaurs stand outside, standing guard. You see quite a few people making their way in and out of all various races.
Yeah, we approach.
So as you get a bit closer, you see that a sign of a cauldron hangs above the door, suspended by chains. The minotaurs both, as you make your way past, and then inside. Inside, you find a nice, warm atmosphere where the center is cleared out with a ring set up, a dirt floor in the center, and a circle of stone. Nearly 5 foot down from the rest of the floor of the tavern, being a wooden floor, it is a very lovely place. This nice fresh meat and potato stew smell meets in each of your noses as it fills the room. You hear a female's voice call out, "Well, if that's going to be it, then that's going to be the last call."
Pardon?
Yes?
Do you have room for 2 more?
Definitely.
Then I would gladly sign up.
Be a 5 silver entry fee. And if
course.
you wish to place bets on each of the rounds, you can do so.
Are we allowed to place bets on ourselves?
If you wish.
In that case, I'm willing to bet maybe 300 gold that I would win.
Well, then do that when the time is right.
Okay.
You pay the entry fee now. Is your friend going to partake as well?
I just hand her the 5 silver and I look to Zanashi.
Yeah, I'll fight a little bit.
Well, then the only thing else I need, after each of you sign your names here, is each of you to draw out of this bag.
I just sign my name and I give another 5 silver for Zanashi.
Okay. Alencia, when you reach into the bag, can you roll me a d4? So you reach in, you only feel 3 like hard objects. They feel almost as stone. When you pull it out, you find this small pebble with a bit of red like paint placed upon it. Well, that's the left side. And you? Zanashi, can you roll me a d3, please?
So I do it manually.
Yeah, unfortunately. Ooh, interesting. So as you pull out a small pebble, you'll notice there is a bit of a blue marking of paint on it. Well, that's the right. Well, then it seems that each of you may have to fight. But nonetheless, it starts tomorrow. Neither of you are in the immediate beginnings, but you, as she points to Alencia, will have the first match of you and your friend.
Very well.
Good luck to each of you.
Thank you, and we're looking forward to it.
She'll give you a bit of a little nod as she just says, calls out to the rest of the tavern. Well, that's it.
And yeah, I guess we walk out.
Well, on your way back, with Modar taking like a bit of time, needing to unload everything, Togo giving a little bit of a hand as well before sitting down. Togo, can you roll me an investigation check, please?
That I can. Investigation. I'm not a super good investigator, guys.
Well, with you, I mean, with how you're doing it, you might be able to talk him into letting you do it with a charisma modifier instead of intelligence.
That's fair. I was thinking about that. I am trying to persuade people to tell me stories that they might not be thinking about, but
Yeah, you can give me a persuasion check.
much better.
Much better. Unfortunately, while you do find a bit of stories and get some decent conversation going with individuals that make their way in, most of the people that make their way into this this brewery just seem to be here to purchase like a cask or keg of ale before departing. None really seemed that interested in staying and having any conversations.
All right.
And I mean,
Oh.
just so you get like the idea, it's not you. It's just kind of where you're at.
This is a place where the innkeepers go and get the casks of which they sell to their customers.
Indeed.
Well, I will gladly sit with, what was his name again?
Mayor?
Mare. Gladly sit with Mare and drink while customers come in. If Mare is even hanging around.
I mean, you seem to notice it being a fair amount of business, and the noise picks up from time to time, but then diminishing back to a bit of a quiet, more atmosphere. But roughly as 30 minutes go by, this is when Modar will then have finished unloading everything as you've kind of sat and relaxed, enjoying a nice cup of ale. Which can you roll me a D100, please? And then roughly about 5 minutes after that point is when Zanashi and Alencia will return. So this is a bit fresh, and it's maybe not had enough time to set, in your opinion. But, I mean, this is a pretty fair ale. Nothing great, but definitely not the worst.
Huh. All right then. Love it. I'm here for it. But besides that, I'll just kind of snooze my afternoon away, relaxing in a brewery.
Well, as I said, with Modar shortly after finishing unloading, and then Alencia and Zanashi returning just moments after that, each of you can reconvene now, just sitting at a table with only patrons coming in to just do their quick purchases before leaving. None sitting in staying, but Mayor still manning his stations.
Hello.
Hello.
For walking with me. So it turns out that me and Zanashi are actually the first matchup.
Oh. Interesting.
And I expect that both of us will go all out. So, who are you betting on?
I will have to think about this one long and hard. I don't know who I'm betting on, but I will let y'all know when I decide.
I don't know. It will be interesting.
Do they? I guess I haven't asked, but I wonder what the odds are for each person.
Bet it depends which per fight what the how the fighters are, what people think of the fighters, and who starts betting a lot on which one, and so on and so forth.
I imagine the general public will vote, well, at least between the two of us, that Zanashi would win.
Oi, both of you entered?
That is correct.
Oh. Hell, you said, who's the first match? Did they tell you?
I believe me and Zanashi are actually fighting against each other.
What are the odds of that?
I have no idea.
Well, by appearance, I'd have to say that the orc probably has the upper hand. But
That's fair.
maybe you have a bit of a surprise. Who knows? I've seen crazier things, that's for sure.
I'm sure this will be a learning experience for many.
Don't underestimate my friend.
Oh no, like as I said, I'm just going off of appearance. I mean, that axe you have on your back, it's got to be quite heavy. I mean, got a bit of muscle to carry it, right?
He raises a good point, Zanashi. You are indeed strong.
Oh, with that, which do you think, maybe a bit of inside information, which do you think will win? If you both give it to y'all, then, well, maybe I can make a fair amount of coin.
Well, I don't intend to throw the match either way, so I would be betting on myself.
Oh, I like the confidence. What about you?
Uh, I'm going to wait before I place any bets.
Well, there's always a few moments of time before the bets are placed and finalized, but usually Sansa will collect the bets and then, well, give a bit of a description, and people will make up their determination.
Duly noted.
Well, now that Mayor's got the extra couple silver coins, then maybe we can place a few extra bets.
Uh, um, between matches, after me and Zanashi fight, is there one right immediately after, or do we get to rest?
Oh, heavens no. These matches can prove to be, well, detrimental to say the least. But you're meant to be on your ass for a few days after a good beating. But nonetheless, you have a day to recuperate before the next round. This usually takes about a week's time.
Ah, that's a relief.
Well, depending on how many fight. Did they happen to mention?
Apparently based on my observation, there are 4 in total fighting.
Oh, that's a damn shame. Be shortcomings then.
Right. I would like to see more contestants, but let's.
Are you sure, by the way?
Pardon?
Are you sure
I'm not sure what.
that there's only 4 contestants? I mean, if so, then this will be over in just a couple days.
I don't know how it works, but I reached into a bag and it felt like there was only 4 possible things to draw from.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Then that means there was only 4 slots that are remaining. This is gonna be proven to be quite a tournament then.
Oh, so there are, in fact, many participants.
Yes, I think they normally take up to 16.
Okay. Well, that will be exciting.
Oh yes, this is definitely a bit more enticing.
Well, I
But
hope to see you there.
well, I will be. The shop, I'll close it down for days if I have to. And then, looking up as a individual walks in, he'll say, "Excuse me," as he begins to tend to the customer.
Well, I do think I should tuck in early for this, and you should too. If that is okay with everyone, then please excuse me. And she'll get up and start walking towards her room.
So, just out of curiosity, with there only being 2 rooms available, are we keeping the matching the same? Tsunashi and Alencia and Togo and Modar in the other?
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
believe
would think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, each of you can retire for the night. It's, as stated, nothing completely luxurious by any means, but definitely comfortable with just maybe a handful of people making their way in at a time. It's fairly quiet.
Start looking around for the individual that. Oh no, we're at time right now, aren't we?
Yeah, this will be the end of our session.
Yep, never mind yet.
But as stated, with that, this will be the end of the session, as each of you get the rest after the full days of travel into the city of Race, getting your rooms at the Belly Hop Brewery, and also having Zanashi and Alencia sign up for the Brawl, the tournament that is beginning tomorrow, midday. So next week, when we pick it back up, we will begin as each of you complete a short rest, which will move us into May 1st, I believe.
We're really moving along, timeline-wise, aren't we?
Oh yeah, this gritty thing makes it, seem that like the important tasks that you're doing, like I was saying, like you don't complete in 2 weeks. It actually seems kind of meaningful.
Yeah, like I kind of like that. Big fan, actually.
Yeah, it's not as bad at like once you start to get into it, then it kind of seems. I mean,
Well,
definitely
now
with
that I
some
don't have 4 spell
modifications.
slots, I am much
Right.
more.
I feel free.
I can like heal myself.
But with that, with everyone being at 7,869 experience, each of you tonight, with everything completed and the RP and whatnot, will bring in 750 experience apiece, which should bring everyone to 8,619.
750, you said?
Yep.
Yep, 750 experience earned.
That is correct.
8619. Yep.
Oh, I gotta say, I didn't expect that backstory drop to happen so soon. I was expecting like level 9 or 10 or something.
Pull it out of
I
you.
will say, same on that. I was like, well, didn't expect to get into that tonight.
She literally said the thing in order to make that happen, and
Yep.
it was so baffling to me.
Now you got Zanashi all gonna be like super fucking protective of your ass now. So now
As
I'm
if
gonna
she
go.
wasn't already.
I know you already
Well,
murdered
now
a
I'm-
shopkeep for her that didn't want to
Well,
serve her
it's-
because she was a drow.
But now I'm gonna be even more. I mean, let a dude hit on her now.
Oh God. I get
Well,
the
the
feeling
issue
I
is
would be
no one's
using
Oh, sorry.
Like she's never even gonna have a boyfriend now.
The protective mother hen swoops in.
I chopped her dick off.
the invisible protective mother hen, because I'm assuming Zanashi's coming back for that sweet, sweet invisibility spell.
I'm sure at one point or another.
Just a full-on yandere in our party.
Well, it kind of works out great that that Alencia is going to fight the champion, and I'm hoping that pretty much everybody's there to watch it,
Well,
except for Zanashi.
the idea I have set up, I hope it's entertaining, but the biggest thing I would say with this idea is it's mainly to either be a money grab or a money dump. If you're right, you can obviously make some coin. If you're wrong, you can obviously lose coin. That's how betting works, right? So,
Bet it all on Alencia.
but with that, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to next week as we make our way into May 1st, and with just a few hours away from this tournament of brawlers, I feel is a safe thing to call it. Kind of get into that a bit. Just to double check, tomorrow, do we have TOA or not, Clue?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So tomorrow night,
Everything's good on my end, yeah.
boss. Tomorrow night, we have Tomb of Annihilation with Zanashi, Clue, who's played by Clue, as being the DM. And I get to take a bit of a back seat and just be a player for a night, which is always a good time, especially with the character Akka. Definitely a character, to say the least. But with that, does anyone have anything that they'd like to shout out before we get out of here?
Had fun. Glad to be into it again.
To my emotional energy after dropping that, I don't know if I'm gonna go to sleep tonight.
Well, I'm gonna sleep well. I was crying. did a few Bible thumps.
I saw. That was very touching.
But everyone affiliated, partnered with the stream for map and map assets. We have 2-minute tabletops, all the ambiance music. We have Sword Coast soundscapes, the art for all the characters, and also the logo that you see done by Lady Loxer. You can find the Discord down below. Everything correlating with the pictures that you see alternating in the top left. With that, everyone have a good night. Hope to see you tomorrow or some point later in the week. If not, just see you next time. Everyone have a good night and be safe.
Good night.
Good
Night.